What's going on, guys? My name is RagingRaptor and I welcome you to a new World of Tanks video, and today I want to try to explain what is going to happen in update 1.9, because I am certain that some people don't really feel like trying to read through an essay basically. So I'll try my best to explain everything to you. I will also give my personal thoughts and opinion on it, which will also be used as feedback later on, because I'm also going to say this is my feedback to how the update 1.9 will look. But breaking it all down, update 1.9 is here to basically introduce some features from the new balance. The features which mostly had positive resonance, and Wargaming also saying that they still are thankful for our feedback and they want to have more from it. So again, even as I know some people and a lot of people say Wargaming is not listening to us and so on and so forth, still try to give feedback. It's always appropriate in my personal opinion. So also, same thing goes for me. If you think I can do something better, let me know as feedback. So the big three changes Wargaming wants to introduce are the HP and ammo rack capacities for lower tiers, the tech tree changes, and the collector vehicle changes. So the first thing is, in my opinion, something which I really much enjoyed during playtesting on the sandbox server, and that is that low tier tanks became lot more durable. They now have a lot more HP, they have a lot more, and they are just more fun to play in that sense because you don't die immediately. Again, I want to take a quota from the forum where somebody said, imagine an Object 140 with an 850 alpha gun, because that is how low tiers are at the moment in the game. And this is going to change, and I'm looking forward to that because this is a quality of life change for newer players. It also may or may not change some WN8 values and so on and so forth, but I'm sure that the people behind the WN8 stuff will have a look at that. I am also certain that they already have some things in place to, keep low tier stats padding at bay for WN8 reasons. However, I do think that, sure, skilled players will still wreak havoc in lower tiers, but again, you are not going to die immediately, and it will probably make the low tiers a little bit more active gameplay rather than just camping in a corner, camping in a back, and abusing Furange to no extent. Sure, it will still happen because that's how it is, but you won't die in 2 to 3 shots. So that is a very good thing. Will be interesting to see how different values will be changing in gun marks for tier 5 and tier 6 tanks. But as far as I know, those lower tier tanks will not have or not receive too much HP at the tier 5 and tier 6. The most HP increase will be for tier 1, 2, 3, and 4. Again, this will make it also more comfortable to play against people which are, for example, using derp guns on Hetzer and so on and so forth. So yeah, I understand that some people will be sad that their all-beloved low-tier derper will be less effective. But it will be also more effective because it gained HP as well. Now, the big changes, and this is the whole topic where I try to explain everything, and those are the tech tree changes. We already discussed them before, where they said, yes, we are going to simplify the tech trees, meaning 92 vehicles and several other vehicles will be removed and recategorized, as for example, the T-54E1 will be recategorized as a heavy tank. That is just one of those examples. This is also actually something a Wargaming developer sent me to during playtesting and said, oh yeah, this tank was changed, and I'm not sure if this is also going to happen on the CT1 of an 1.9, where the T-54E1 will receive more standard and premium penetration when it gets reclassified as a heavy tank. I do think it would be a great addition and a great idea to again reclassify this tank as a heavy and give it more, when they are already reclassifying it as a heavy, to give it more penetration. So here I know from a lot of people which are saying, why do we have this? And I, once again, have to agree with Wargaming in that sense that it makes the tech trees look more streamlined. Again, for a new player, the current tech tree may or may not be very, very confusing when we, for example, just have a look at the Russian tech tree right now, where we have overlapping tier 10s. And obviously, I understand also the other side were saying, if you can't follow one arrow, then you shouldn't play in this game. Cheers to Ducky for that one. But it makes the tech trees look more streamlined, and they will make it look more overviewable in my personal opinion. And again, the low tier tanks, they do not vanish. They are going to be called collector's vehicle, and there will be also some compensations for those. Most notably, if you have a collector's vehicle in your current tank tree or in your current garage, not even in your garage, but also just research, you will get compensation in national blueprint fragments and universal blueprint fragments. So for example, a low tier tank where you need for 1 blueprint fragment, 1 national and 4 universal, you will get them back until it's all compensated. This is, for example, one of the compensation methods. But again, those tanks, they will stay in the game. You will have a special tab up here where you can click on and you will get to a special section in the store where you can buy those vehicles. So now let's make a thought experiment. For example, we know the Jack Panther 2 will be removed. It will be added to the collector's, not removed, it will just be switched to being a collector's vehicle. So, for example, you never played the German Tech Tree line, the Tank Destroyer line. And now, for example, you really want the Jack Panther 2. Now, you just have to either research any of the tier 8 vehicles of the German Tech Tree. So for example, if you already have researched HWK12 or even the Rheinmetall Panzerwagen, you are set. You can go to the special tab and buy the Jack Panther. Important to note is you will not have those things researched yet. You have to fully research the Jack Panther 2 itself, meaning you have to get this gun first, but it will most likely carry over from the Jack Panther, and you have to research this gun if you don't have it already. Again, you have to fully research this tank, but you will get sooner the elite status on this vehicle, because you do not have to research a tier 9 vehicle with those. What is elite status? Elite status only means you can use the experience gathered on this vehicle to either do conversion in free XP or accelerate crew training. This is the only thing what this elite status really means. Those are the major changes of those vehicles. Next up, you do not need experience to get those tanks. They will only be available for credits, and those credits will not change. So for example, if you once again go back in the tech tree and have a look at the Ferdinand, which costs 2.5 million right now, the Jack Panther will cost exactly the same amount, 2.5 million to buy. Again, you still have to research the modules of the Jack Panther 2. Now, the same thing also applies to the removed tier 8 and tier 9 and tier 10 vehicles. So for example, in the Russian tree, you got the IS-7 already, you will get the T-62A. Or, and this is more important, if you are new to the game and only have the T-54 researched and started some research on the T-62A, you will be eligible to buy the vehicle after the update hits live servers. So meaning you can even buy a tier 10 vehicle without having researched any other tier 10 vehicle. The same thing will apply to the AMX-30 and the AMX-50B as well as the 113. As soon as you started some research on those vehicles and stopped by then, you will get access to buying those vehicles in the collector store. You will not get them for free. Now, one thing I really want to talk about is those tanks are very, very weird. Because in the first iteration of the sandbox server, they are categorized as reward vehicles. What does a reward vehicle mean? We can have a quick look at one of those reward vehicles, which is, for example, the FV215B. It is considered a reward vehicle, meaning I can put whatever heavy tank crew in this tank without losing its major qualification. You can see it's still at 100%. I do not have to retrain those crews. It's the same thing with premiums. It's the same thing with Clan Wars reward vehicles. This is why my Chieftain crew, for example, is the crew of the Super Conqueror. In the first iteration of the new balance on the sandbox, the AMX-30B, all those removed tanks have become this special status, meaning they do not need a specific crew. Now, if we go back into the FAQ, we have to go down a little bit here and see what is the main difference between collector's vehicle and regular researchable vehicles. Do I need to retrain crews to reassign them to collector's vehicle? The main difference is in how they're obtained. You do not need XP on researching collector's vehicle. In all other game aspects, economy, retraining of crews, etc., regular and collectible vehicles are identical. This is, in my opinion, the biggest change of this whole rework, and this actually makes me a little bit sad. I did buy basically all those tanks yesterday, so I wasted a lot of money in them because there was a sale. And now Wargaming says, nope, we are not going to make them as free crew trainers. I understand on a point from Wargaming that a free crew trainer would lose them potentially money, because then you don't need a premium to train them. Obviously, you're not going to make more money with those tanks, you know? And this is kind of sad to me personally. I really would have wished for that those tanks would retain, at least the high tier tanks from tier 6 and onwards will retain their reward vehicle status, meaning I can put whatever crew I want into them. This would have been also a good compensation for people already having researched and bought those vehicles, you know. So I will do my best to advocate to change this back, so the high tier vehicles, tier 6 and onwards, or tier 7 and onwards, will get this special reward vehicle status. Again, the only point of this vehicle status is that they will get the opportunity to put whatever crew of the same tank class in them. There are no added economical benefits. As far as I know, they only get a slightly more amount of crew XP. And I have to be honest, Wargaming can cut it out. I don't care about this additional crew XP, as long as I can put whatever crew I want into these tanks. This is what I personally want to give forward as feedback to those changes. Lastly, there are some more different things in the FAQ. Again, you can always buy them as soon as you are able to, or as soon as you reach the respective tier in the respective tree. There will be a different class as well of achievements, in-game achievements, which basically says if you researched all collector's vehicle of this and this and this tree, you will get an additional medal. And also some other medal related topics are, for example, you don't need to kill them, those vehicles, when you want to get one of those, like here, where you the expert of France, where you have to kill every single French vehicle, and so on and so forth. I actually still miss some low tier ones. I should play some low tiers, KW. But yeah, those are the main changes, and I hope I was able to explain most of them. Again, the collector's vehicle, they will have the exact same modules as they have right now. There's not really much else to say. Again, if you, for example, already started with researching a little bit on the AMX30 and on the bat chat, but you don't have any other tank yet on the French tech tree, you will get the opportunity to get the AMX30 in the module store already, even though you don't have yet a tier 9 vehicle. So yeah, as far as I know, and as far as I already heard, there will be no compensation if you already have those vehicles, because they're just basically changing where you can get them from. Which is, in my personal opinion, a little bit sad, because I can imagine that some people, again, they didn't have to, but they did already grind some XP into it, and so on and so forth. And lastly, there will be no restrictions for using those vehicles in modes, tournaments, or other game events. It's important to just point out, I guess, but yeah. And lastly, again, what do you think about those things? Do you think there are good changes? Do you think there are bad changes? Let me know in the comment section below, but more importantly, voice your opinion in the forums. Again, I do think that Wargaming finally understood that we, the players, are who feeds them, as dumb as it sounds, but I think they finally understood that we have to speak up a little bit, and it worked wonderful in the new balance features sandbox, where they said, you know what, you're right, we did make some mistakes, we are going to relook at them. Anyway, this was RagingRaptor. I hope the explanation was understandable. If you have any further questions which weren't solved in my video nor in this article, let me know and I will relay them to a wargaming employee. Again, it's the same thing I did with the collector status and the reward status, because it wasn't clearly written to me. If you enjoyed the video, leave me a thumbs up. If you think I can improve, give me some feedback. As always, thanks for watching. If you enjoy such video, well, then feel free to subscribe. And as always, cheers on the battlefield and stay safe and stay the f at home.